guys? Ben Travovic here from the Manly Seagulls.
Here comes through Luai.
The SuperCoach Experience podcast is one of the best podcasts going around, boys.
They go to hole. Scores.
Keep doing what you're doing, and yeah, I just want to say, what a podcast. Go the Mighty Eagles.
Hey lads, Ewan Aiken here from the New Zealand Warriors. Hope you have a big year with the SuperCoach Experience podcast.
Got the ball to Sims. It's down to hole. To hole. It's gone in again. What a pass.
What is up, all you weak-gutted dogs? How are ya? Welcome to the SuperCoach Experience podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the struggling Savage Turbos. And here to join me, ironically, is the downfall of the Savage Turbos on the weekend. It's just me and him on the panel. How are you? The coach of Kiss My Behinds. Jake, how are you enjoying having the week off?
Yeah, it was good. We versed each other in, I think, 2 leagues. Lucky for both of us, it wasn't an eliminator. It was a second chance one, but it means I get the week off. I was just happy that you had an off week, just like a few of your players, or your weak-gutted dogs, as you just called them. So, I was happy after the first game, when Joey Manu was quiet for Joey Manu's standards, and from there it kind of just continued on. I think you don't have Latrell. I think you missed the VC captaincy on Munster, so it was all good for me.
I got Hines' captaincy score, which first 5 minutes he goes over for a try. I'm thinking, all right, I'm on here. I'm on for a comeback, but it was probably too much of a mission with unique players like Max King to come, who probably weren't going to help me to my way to glory. 1277 for me, 14 odd for yourself, and you left points out there because of the loop.
Yeah, I copped Tessie News shit score, and he's been dropped this week, which is actually panned out all right because I was going to get rid of Tohu. Now I can get rid of Tessie New, put Talakai where I want him in the centre wing, so it kind of worked out all right for me in the end. But yeah, ideally you kind of don't want to loop when you've got an 18 already sitting there, but a lot of people do, and you have to bank. He was on 140, and he was always going to update a little bit. He had a few offloads in there and nearly got to 150. Just so happened that the very next game, Latrell goes bungs out 150 something. So
I'll tell you what. I've done well this year. I haven't missed many scores like that, and I think that's the first big one I've missed. And wow, that really hurt. Like, that hurt so much. Like, he was 25 after 20 minutes with,
and that was just in goal kicks. He hadn't touched the ball yet. He only kicked the ball, and then he just did Latrell things. Every time he touched it, he turned to gold.
I think and when he got hooked at the 69th minute, I was cheering, but it's still the damage was already done. It was already done, and it really hurt. But his draw coming up is not as easy as the weekend's game. I feel like the Warriors really gave up, and they've been quite resilient in the past few weeks, but just on the weekend, they didn't show up at all. And I guess that just proves how much of a side the Rabbitohs are this year. I think they're the in-form team nearly running into the finals.
For sure. I think it's them and probably the Roosters. Although the Roosters kind of haven't really been tested. This week, we'll really know what the Roosters are sort of made of against the Cows. But yeah, I agree with South. They're the informed team. Ken Murray, he was outstanding as well on the weekend. It was kind of, they blew him away in the first half. And like you said, the Warriors have been pretty resilient. They were resilient in the second half. They only let him 12 points, I think. Kind of helped that Latrell kind of went off with 15 to go. But like you said, they're not playing. South aren't playing the Warriors for the next 3 weeks. So you kind of don't really expect Latrell to be scoring 150. Although he can still do it.
Yeah, I think a couple of weeks ago when Pappy went down, I argued Latrell probably wasn't a play. You didn't need to get him, but it just proves how much them gun fullbacks are really crucial for your side because they can just do that. They can get them 150s, and Parramatta this week, they're not the biggest defensive powerhouse. I think they can still let in a few points, and he'll be up for these bigger games. So I think it probably was the play a couple of weeks ago. And I personally, for myself, I just got to hope he stays quiet, eh?
Yeah, it just kind of sucks for, I guess, you rank so well, and just for a player that probably a lot of people around you have, and it's just, I guess, it's only really been one round that he's kind of gone ballistic. The other rounds, you've kind of had other players to counteract that. But yeah, definitely this week was kind of the one that
it just proves how much them trades really help. Like, if I had the trades, I could have done it. But
well, you did actually have a trade. You did have one trade, Savs, and you said you weren't going to do it. Mikey said he guarantees you will use it, and he was right.
Did he say he said that? I should have listened to the podcast right beforehand. But I did use my last trade. Cleary did Daily Trade Evans. I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest, because I think, like, being knocked out of the finals this week, I would have been knocked out had I not used the trade regardless. Daly Trey Evans named this week, obviously no injuries picked up, and he's playing the Titans. So I'm quite happy with it. I probably would have nearly done it this week anyway. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the trade. And I think going forward, Jerome Hughes was the most traded in last week, and, people have dealt with an injury blow, and he's not named this week.
Yeah, and that's a big one. Like, people potentially would use like their last trade or one of their last trades from going Cleary to Hughes, and yeah, he went off injured early, not playing this week, could be 1 to 2 weeks, so it's going to be a blow. People might not be able to trade him on. You kind of might be stuck with one halfback, or potentially one. Like, I know Tim Moody had Cleary and Moses. He didn't go to. He brought in Nico Hines, so it was all right.
Hines, yeah.
Say you got Hines at fullback, and you kind of dealing with Moses, and now you got Hughes. So, and I guess another one we can throw in there is Joe Tarpanay. Also suffered an injury. Another highly owned player on the weekend had that rib injury, which we haven't heard how serious it is. If it's a fracture of the rib, then he's probably done for the rest of the regular season if they make finals. But it's kind of pain management. I'm pretty sure he wasn't named this week.
Yeah, I'm just checking that up now. Always play later in the week. So Papali'i and Emre Gula named to start. Tarpanay is out. What a blow. Tarpanay and Hughes. And I know people that went Tarpanay and Hughes last week, which is, it's just such a blow. And how do we not expect it? Like Cleary, Pappenhausen, Tarpanay, Hughes, all in the last 3-4 weeks. Dare I say, there's still more to come for the rest of the year.
Well, you'd hope not, and I guess a lot of people are running out of trades now, and we'll kind of get to it later in the show. But yeah, we're running out of trades. A lot of, like yourself, have none, and I guess depth is going to be tested. Hopefully, you do have depth. If you have a lot of players that aren't playing and you're getting these injuries like Tarpanay, Hughes, if you just brought him in for Cleary, then they're definitely going to hurt. And the ones who have kept some trades or have a lot of depth are really going to be benefiting in the finals. Like, I know a person I versed on the weekend, one of my mates, he ran out of trades and then lost Cleary and Moses. So, I mean, it's good for me, but it sucks for people that are in this situation. They just keep losing players from injury, and with no trades, it's a risky way to go.
It is very risky, and we just know every year that it's going to happen. Just kicking off the show with James Rhodes, what to do with Tarpanay. It's really a trade-based kind of situation, isn't it? Because, let's have a look at the report here. It says prop Joe Tarpanay is out with a rib injury and Emre Gula replaces. That's all it says. So we don't know if he's going to be out 1-2 weeks. If you've got depth in your front row area, I would hold him, because at least if he's back for the final round, if they're in contention for the 8, they'll play him in the final round, and that'll be handy for yourself. So I would hold on to him, especially with limited trades. If you've got like more than 3 trades, 100% sell him. He's a sell, 100%. But, with the depth and the front row area kind of being a bit of a wasteland, I would hold him. But I understand if you've only got 2 front rowers that are playable, really.
He just said he's got Max King and 3 trades.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think he's old. I mean, but before the injury, he was the best front rower in SuperCoach, and it was only it's just I don't know. We don't know the extent of it. Hopefully, we know how bad it is later in the week. Hopefully, before I guess Thursday's game, we know if it's a fracture or if it's just pain management. He should be back next week. I mean, like Canberra need him. They need him if they want to make finals, like you said.
I've got something. If you can sell him to a second rower, he's a sell. If you can only sell him to a front rower, he's a hold.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah. As long as you probably got IPAP in there, got Max King, assuming no hard. I don't know. I'd probably just run Max King, to be honest.
So
unless I mean, you can play it on matchup. They play late in the round, so if you need a player to, I guess, in your head-to-head matchup to kind of catch up a bit, like Sav says, you want a second rower, then bring someone in that can potentially get you the win. Otherwise, I'd kind of just save him, and he might be back next week. And in that case, it's kind of a waste of trade because he's been the best front rower.
Very good. So we've got another one here. Just quickly off the show, Matthew Gibson. I'm up against Savs this week, thanks to Jake. Do I play Drinky, Mam, or Sevo as last reserve? I'm thinking Mam due to matchup thoughts. Honestly, Matthew Gibson, I don't care which one you play. They're all shit.
Play the wrong one.
They're all shit. They're all shit options. So, I have a story from the weekend where actually, we're coming into later in the season. No one has trade, so our show becomes nearly redundant. Nearly. We're still doing it, obviously, but
it's good that we're a bit of an entertainment show, so we can just add a little bit of entertainment.
Yeah, we can just talk a bit of
Although
shit.
we are missing the main entertainment, which is Tim Moody.
Oh, yeah, but I got a Twitter comment yesterday saying we only talk about our teams for a lot of the episode, and I was like, it's a fair call. Right. It's a fair call. We do talk about our teams, but I think a lot of our teams kind of apply to a lot of other teams as well. So if we can answer some questions on the way and just make it a normal chat, then Bob's your uncle. So my story from the weekend, I went out for my wife's birthday on Saturday night, went out for a few drinks, and I was gone. I was gone by 10 p.m. Came home, and my wife stayed out with her friends because it was her birthday. I needed to look after the baby. And she tells me the next morning, she came home to me asleep listening to this podcast on loud on the speaker. So that just proves how good this podcast is that I'm listening to it.
Or you just like the sound of your own voice or our voice.
Last week I left really early in the podcast, like half an hour within the show. So the last half of the show was when you guys were listening. So I was listening to the rest of the show, which I don't even remember. So bit of a story there. We've got someone in the same boat with Tarpanay in the second row. Ooh. I think let's kick this off. Most traded in, not in my team. 2,370 people traded in Cam Murray this week. I know you have a bit of love for Cam Murray, and we kicked it off at the top of the show that Cam Murray was another one that hurt people, and also people that didn't have Latrell. He 3 try assists within 20 minutes for a second rower. That is nuts. Their draw, yes, it is a bit tough, but he's punching out at least 70s. What are your thoughts on Cam Murray, and do you see the hype?
For sure. I mean, if they're losing Tarpanay and they can go to Cam Murray, I'd definitely be doing that. I think Cam Murray's probably the best just second row. I mean, IPAP's probably averaging more, but you have him in your front row. You don't want him in your second row. Cam Murray's clearly the best second row forward. He's going to get you probably at least 70 just in base, and he's so important to their attack. We saw it on the weekend. I know he's not going to get 3 try assists because the Warriors were just terrible through the middle. But, I mean, he's just so crucial to their attack. He's going to potentially, in these bigger games, he'll probably play near 80 minutes. Against the Warriors, they were done. He had an early spell in the first half, and they kind of just managed his time. I think he played 65-ish minutes, but we can probably expect more against the better teams in closer games because he's far and away their best forward and pretty crucial to their attack. So I think you definitely bring him in. If you can find a player, Tarpanay is a perfect example. If you've got Tarpanay in your second row, and like Sav says, if you've got in your front row and you can put another player up there, that's an all right. You've got a Jules. Definitely bringing Cam Murray, I think. The thing with him, though, is he's probably not going to be highly owned in like the top few players because everyone's kind of missing at the start. He was kind of injured. He kind of was playing Origin. No one really kept him. But now he's come back. People are low on trades, and they've had other priorities with, say, Nathan Cleary being out to bring in other players. So Cam Murray's kind of, although his ownership's at about 17%, I think that's kind of overinflated by a lot of ghost teams at the start, because he was kind of heavily owned at the start, but
yeah,
kind of didn't fluctuate much. So I think Cam Murray, although with the ownership looking how the way it is, I think he's quite a bit of a pod. So I can see why everyone's bringing him in.
And a lot of people don't have the luxury to kind of go to him. Like only 2,300 people have brought him in. I think if it was early in the season, that would be 15,000. If not 15, like it'd be definitely above 10.
Yeah, a lot more. It's just people don't have trades. They just don't, or they're holding on to the one or two they have and hoping that they make, say, the grand finals in the leagues, because that's what a lot of people are shifting to now. They're head-to-head leagues. Hoping they can get the dubs in that. I know I am. Hoping I'm finishing in the top 1K though.
You went up 600? 600?
I don't think it was that much. I think it was only 100 or so spots. I think I'm 800 and something.
Oh, interesting. We got Latrell next on the list. 798 people have traded him in with the draw. Parramatta. They've got Parramatta, Penrith, and Cowboys trading in now. What do you reckon? Like with Cam Murray, he's a lock playing 80 minutes. But Latrell, fullback, very reliant on attacking stats.
I mean, it's a bit late, but I mean, the way he's playing, he's probably the best fullback playing at the moment. Like he's been beating Teddy in terms of score wise. I guess he goal kicks to kind of combat his low base, but the way Souths are going, they can easily win every single game here on in. They ideally should have beat Cronulla last week. They just couldn't kick a field goal at the end. So I can see why they're bringing him in. You kind of kicking yourself though that you didn't have him a bit earlier than this week. Don't be expecting 150s every week, but I can see that you can get burnt by Latrell in your head-to-heads. That's for sure.
100%. We've got I'm not even at number 3, but I mean, Gutho, he's kind of interesting one to combat him. I'm just trying to get his draw up now. His draw is Rabbitohs, Bulldogs, and Broncos. I see that as not too bad. Gutho without Moses is really interesting. 127 on the weekend. Obviously, you don't want to be chasing points, but is he a potential fullback option if you want to steer away from Latrell and his tough draw?
Yeah, I think he's definitely a pot option. I don't know. I keep hearing that Moses might be back before the finals. So he could be back for that Bulldogs game, even the Broncos game. So he may be back a bit earlier than we kind of hope. But yeah, Gutherson, he's kind of taken big control of that team. Goal kicking, although he was quite poor at goal kicking on the weekend. But Parra going to score tries. Even a lot of them they score out wide. But yeah, I don't mind him as a bit of a pod route to Latrell. I think I lightly touched on him last week and wasn't really much love because Parra were kind of, no, we don't know how they're going to go with Moses not there, but they still played all right. Jacob Arthur's played his first and only good game so far in his Parramatta career, so maybe he continues on that form.
Hopefully he does. If not, he's a weak-gutted dog. We've got Daly Cherry Evans at number 4. I mean, Daly Cherry Evans, Ruben Garrick are in the top 5 traded in.
That's just our matchup, really.
It's a matchup against the Titans. Yeah, you know, I looked at the draw, and that's why I got Cherry Evans in. Are these two really good options this week?
For sure. I mean, a lot of people already have Garrick, but I think, DCE, with people using Hughes, like you sort of mentioned last week when you were deciding to go, well, actually not last week, when you mentioned in the chat that you brought in DCE and why, you said he's not injury prone. He never gets injured. He's always playing every single week. So you can kind of rely on him always being there. And he's against the Titans, you can safely assume he's probably going to score quite a few points and try assists because the Titans are awful and the Warriors are awful. So that's the kind of teams, their opponents that you want to be picking.
I was very happy with the trade in. Even though he scored 34, I thought he'd be lower on the list this week. But obviously people think the same thing. I was happy to go early because he never gets injured. And I mean, at this time of year, you don't want an injury. And just my luck, he'll probably go down injured in a couple of weeks, maybe next week. Harry Grant, he's a bit down on the list. And there's Isaac Thompson as well. Let's touch on Isaac Thompson, named on the wing again. With the Rabbitohs, tough draw. Probably stay away, especially playing on the right wing. I'd understand if he was on the left wing, you could drag a try or two, but you can still do that. But what are your thoughts on that one?
I mean, it's kind of, I don't really know why people need to be downgrading now to get a cheap option. You must have a lot of trades if you must have a lot of trades if you're doing this.
If you got the trades, I don't mind. I don't hate it because if you're getting someone that can play just in case, then
I don't know if he's a lock though.
Yeah,
Campbell Graham should be back in the next couple of weeks. I don't know if that then pushes Paulo out the wing.
Yep.
Got the centre in, so I don't think his job security is safe. But if you're kind of just using him to bring him in to potentially play this week, well, don't really want to play, but I guess have a cheap option available for you to upgrade to someone like Latrell, Murray, whatever, like big gun you're bringing in, then sure, go for it. But if he's your one trade option this week, I don't think it's really the trade to be doing.
Paulo is a much better winger in my opinion, so I do see him, Isaac Thompson, not lasting long. You may as well go enough that has dual flexibility. Harry Grant, is he back? 97. I mean, last week he scored 70, 80, but 97 this week. Got given a try assist on updates, which he truly deserved.
Not like the week before where he didn't get one. So he sure deserved it.
He probably deserved the one the week before too, but deserved it. Is he back? 570,000.
Well, at that price, yeah. I mean, it's probably him and Damien Cook are the standout hookers, and Harry Grant kind of has although they play Penrith this week, the other two games are kind of a bit easier than, say, South, where he's more likely to get attacking stats than Cook is. But yeah, I can see why at that price, 5 whatever he is, definitely. I mean, he's a 700k player, and you're getting him at a massive discount at this point of the season. I mean, you don't really want to be playing with dummy half roulette. Like if you're going, say, Robson to him or someone like that, I don't really see it. But if you're getting rid of some dead weight, then yeah, 100% be using your trades on Harry Grant.
All right.
Although there is one trade I'm a bit bizarre on at 10th on the list at the moment.
Yeah.
Luke Keary. He's played one good game all season with a high score. Going against the Cowboys this week, who are second or third best defensively, and I don't know about bringing him in. That one's a bit bizarre to me. I'd much rather Sam Walker than Luke Keary. He's kind of a bit more safe with his goal kicking, and he kind of seems to get more control and more ball, and he has more of a license to do what he wants than Keary seems to. But I don't know. I don't see it. I don't understand the Keary one, to be honest.
I don't either. That's why I was just going to skip past it and go to the next segment.
Well, people will see there, I guess, the top 10 brought in and stuff like that. So they go, Keary, Keary, maybe I should bring in Keary. So
yeah,
not really.
Yeah. He's looking better. He's looking better, which is good, I guess. Sit versus starts. Time of the season where we've got some weak gutted dogs in our side and we don't want to play him. Talakai, for one, had the good draw on the weekend. How do we read him? I mean, I feel like the base against the better sides is good, but is the upside there anymore? I feel like Wade Graham inside him has absolutely killed him, and we do have a comment here about him. Thoughts on sitting Targo and May, playing Talakai and Mulatalo instead of the matchup against the Tigers, but Wade Graham is killing the left edge, though.
See, I don't know. See, people say that Wade Graham's killing that left edge. He only plays the first 20, 25 minutes on left edge, goes to the middle, and Teague Woolton comes on and plays that edge. And I guess when Talakai was having those big games at the start of the season, Woolton was the left edge, but Woolton doesn't pass. I just think it's the defense has worked out how to shut him down, and it's to get into his face early to stop him, I guess, just running over the top of everyone. They versed the Tigers this week, though, and the Tigers do like to leak points. So it's going to be a hard one to sit Talakai, although last week was also a pretty good matchup. But I don't know. I'm gonna play Talakai. I don't really have any other Sharks backs, which is not ideal. I mean, he was one pass away from having a try assist, which still only would have popped him up to about 45, 50. But I don't know. Surely he's due for a try. He hasn't scored in forever. I reckon this is the round that he's going big.
I've been less annoyed at him. I'm just glad I got on him before that big score, because can't imagine how the people feel that absolutely ripped their part aside when the cash wasn't there for them.
I was one of them.
Yes. Oh Jesus! No wonder you're holding strong. Targo and May, 36 and 40 respectively. They're playing the Melbourne Storm this weekend, who, to be fair, have leaked points, but I can't see them. I see them kind of shoring up the defense at this point of the season. What are your thoughts on them as plays and sits? Targo punned up them last time.
Yeah, I think Targo is probably a more of a play than May, assuming you got him at centre wing. I think if they're second row, you're probably not. If Targo's a second row, you're probably not going to play him. But if it's centre wing, I'd probably play potentially Tago. The Storm are pretty leaky on their edges, both edges actually. They've been quite all over the place. So I think, although May hasn't scored in about 4 weeks, so May, just like Talakai, surely he's due for a try. We can never kind of say someone's due for a try. It's just how the game runs. So I don't know. I wouldn't really be playing both if you got. I kind of be differentiating your centre wings than rather than just going all in on Penrith in the first game against the Storm. I kind of be mixing up a bit and maybe playing one or the other.
Ruben Cotter as a sit or start, 55 on the weekend in about 60 minutes. Named start this week, but a 4-forward bench. What are your thoughts on him? Is it sit or start? I know a lot of people held him.
Well, I mean, for the people that held him, I mean, you want to start him eventually, and he's a player that scores well, like in the tough, gritty games where it's just a grinding game. And this one should be Roosters versus Cows. I think will potentially be probably match of the round. I think with the Melbourne Storm and Penrith missing a lot of their key players, I think this one's going to be sort of the one. So I think the 4-forward bench, I think, it's a bit annoying, but I think Cotter, the way he's playing, he's going to guarantee 60, 65 minutes. So I don't think his minutes are really going to change, even with the bench the way it is. So I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting one. Sash, you still have Cotter, is that right?
I've got him and Robson, and I love playing Robson because he's got a bit of upside about him. His floor is about 40. And his upside is about 100 maybe. Hasn't really turned up this season, but I just like it because he just scores a lot of tries. And as a hooker, that's very good. He can get them high 70s, high 80s quite often. So I don't know. It's a bit of a tough one. But I also like him against the better sides because he gets more tackles, and they struggle to get tries on the edges when they're playing the better side. So there's tries to be made in the middle. I don't know. It's just so hard to pick when to sit him. But I think I'm just going to keep playing him for the rest of the season. He's done well enough. But he'll save by a try assist on the weekend. I don't know. I've got to think about that one. I think, if I play one, I'm probably going to play just one of them.
Yeah.
And you kind of want to play people for upside as well. So, I don't want to play both of them because I feel like my center wings and second rowers have more upside. Fafita.
Fafita's an interesting one because he can go big, and surely in the next couple of weeks the big score is going to happen, and you don't want FOMO. Like you fear that you don't want to miss out on. You've brought him back in. You don't want to miss out on his potential 120 plus score. Mm-hmm. And it's only a matter of time before the Titans figure out that they've got this weapon on their edge that if we just give him early ball instead of ball at the line, can create something.
And he's playing Manly. He's playing
Manly.
Who he scored 120 this season, 83 and 78 in the last few games. So
I am playing him, and I think
he's got a good run. He's got a good run as well.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, yeah, but we're not trading him. We're not trading him out. It's whether we're playing him or not. I think he's going to be a play this week. Surely he's due for something. And I think Manly they do leak a bit of points, Manly. So yeah, I think he's definitely a play over, say, maybe a Colomatungi or
Colomatungi. What?
No. In terms of, I think he potentially a play over him. I'm playing both, but I think say over him. I'd kind of maybe put Fafita ahead just for this round. South's playing Parramatta.
Yep, for sure. Colomatungi. So since post round 17, let's go leading up to 17 and then to 17 when he was a buy. 55 in round 17, 74, 118, 73, and 93. Has this been one of your shining lights of this season?
Yeah, it has. I think you brought him in around the same time, wasn't it? I think we brought him in the same
I think I bought him a week earlier than round 17.
Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. But yeah, I mean, he's early on, he started well and he kind of fell off in the middle of the season or early middle of the season. And then he's been getting those attacking stats kind of since Latrell come back, which is odd because it kind of, you think the second rows wouldn't be any involved when Latrell's there, but I guess South, that's also made South better, so he's more involved in their attack, and they do go to him quite a bit. He does take a lot of tough carries, which I guess a Fafita doesn't take. But yeah, he's been great, and he's been brought in by quite a bit of people actually after his
Has he?
recent. Oh, he's 15th on the list, so it's not that bad. I guess people get rid of Tarpanay or.
So round 22, 316 people have traded him, which is quite a lot considering people's trades.
Yeah. But yeah, he's been real good. And he's kind of been going. He's improved, and one that's kind of gone backwards of recent is Olakau'atu. I guess we can, touch on him that he plays 65 minutes. He came off a bit early.
He's not playing 80 minutes. He's getting hooked at like that 65, 69 minute mark.
Well, I'll throw that to you. Is he a play this week? They've got Bullimore and Burbo on the bench. They've got two back rows on the bench.
Yeah, he's a play.
Titans, so.
He's a play, and they've got a good draw. So I wouldn't not play him, and he's got that upside. You want that upside. You'll be kicking yourself if you didn't play him, and he went over for a try. I guess just back on the Colomatungi since Latrell's come back is what coincides with Cody Walker. Guy Bailey says Walker a sell or a hold. Obviously, for the people who can't sell him, it's a sit or start situation. But let's kind of tie this into the same conversation. He's a sell and a sit for mine. But the thing is, I would sit him for the rest of the season based on his draw.
Yeah,
you kind of don't want to do that.
No, on a player that last year was the top 5'8". I know he's kind of been playing a little bit different to last year, but Mikey sort of said something last week that he wants to keep him just in case, not necessarily play me with, but just keep him there, so knowing that I can play this guy and hopefully he can win me a head to head or jump me up some ranks if I need them, but. Who would you sell him to? Like, assuming you got Munster, there are options of Brown. There's quite a price difference in that drop. You can go someone like Adam Dewey, who plays at Sharks this week, not ideal. Drinkwater plays at Roosters this week, probably not ideal. So there's not really any 5'8s that you kind of want to trade him out for to play this week. What do you think about that, Savs?
Sam Walker
against the Cows, though. And so, actually, here is one. Burton plays the Warriors.
There you go.
So, thank you, Peter Johnson, for reminding us of that one.
Burton's the guy who's named at 6. Forum was named. Schuster on the reserves. So Forum was injured, hurt his shoulder. So, I mean, Josh Schuster is a downgrade option.
No,
you got to trade him in second row if that's the case, but. It plays way too late in the round. All right. Yep, we got Matt Burton and Targo or Fafita are played this week by Jai Hawkins.
I'm assuming it's Dave Feeder. Wouldn't be
Yep.
Jojo. David. I think David's a play over Tago because,
Yep.
just the upside. I think of Feeder. Surely he's due. Surely.
Agree. Let's move on to this.
Are you suffering from frequent bouts of bet limititis?
Try TopSport, the bookmaker that isn't scared to take a bet. Other providers may significantly limit your bets, causing frustration and angst. TopSport clears that blockage by welcoming big and winning punters, giving you fast, effective relief on those bigger bets. Overcome bet limititis by downloading the TopSport app today. Brought to you by TopSport. Feel the excitement.
Don't let the game play you. Stay in control. Gamble responsibly.
All right, we had a bet on the weekend, Sav Sevens, 4 number 7s as try scorers. You only need to get 2 out of the 4 to get up for $3, and it didn't get up. What are we going to go with this weekend, do you reckon, Jake? Maybe because both of our teams have good matchups. Let's do something from either match. So we could do a points-based one or a try scorer-based one. What do you reckon?
You put me on the spot here, Saj. You didn't give me any warning. I'm not really a betting man, so I don't know. I reckon we think of something a bit later, so we come up with something good rather than something a bit rushed. And then
all right, well, just
the top sport boys know, and hopefully they can sort us out.
Very good. We'll try and get that market up to you by tomorrow. But let's we'll answer one more question, then we'll go to bowl predictions and captain choices. Adam Sargent got 4 trades, 678K in the bank. I could bring in any player. What Uber pod to bring in to kill it for the next couple of weeks, possibly to put the big captaincy on.
See,
I'm going to say
any big Uber pods at the end going now.
I'm going to say Josh Adokar.
Well, I do agree. This week's probably a good one. I think Matt Burton's probably a play you'd safely slap the C on. He went well against, who was it, the Tigers 2 weeks ago where he scored 130. And against the Warriors who just lead points for fun. I think probably Matt Burton is not really an Uber pod, but he's definitely a pod in terms of 5'8". Not really that many people sort of having. He kind of flew under the radar, and when he was a buy, there was Cam Munster as an option, and he kind of priced himself out. So I think probably for this week, Bulldogs. If you don't have DCE, maybe probably doesn't have the ceiling as say Matt Burton may. There's not really any other Manly players you kind of want to target that you should already have. Garrick or Kawhi. There's not really any pods in there. Savs will probably say his mate Jason Saab, but
game of his career on the weekend.
Mate, he was on fire defensively as well. He was great. But Uber pods, I think you just target whoever's playing the Titans, whoever's playing the Tigers, whoever's playing the Warriors. Target those, maybe even Knights. Although they were terrible. They versatile.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that Broncos play the Knights, so maybe Selwyn Cobbo.
Yeah, the Broncos just haven't looked that good though.
Yeah,
that's been poor.
All right, bold predictions and captain choices. What are you going with this week, Jake?
Well, I've kind of said that it's a bounce back week, this one. So I'm going to go Talakai for feeder, both to ton up to get a try, potentially a double each, but I think those two will ton up. And the Sharks will win 30 plus against the Tigers.
I like it. I'm going to go Daly Cherry Evans, Olakwatu, Ruben Garrick, Nico Hines, Talakai, and Mulatalo combined score of 700, which is it's a very mind boggle to sort that one out. But to score 700 combined,
you always do these ones where you just name a bunch of players and then they'll combine for this score, and then no one wants to go work that out. So you can work that out, and on next Tuesday we'll see if you successfully.
We'll see if it got up. And captain choices, it's got to be Nico Hines has to be considered again. Are they playing at home? I don't think they are.
No, they're at Scully Park, which is Bushway, I'm pretty sure. So it's a bit of a neutral ground.
So it'll probably be Teddy VC. Munster's back in 5'8", so I probably won't consider him. And Garrick captain probably.
I think Garrick's definitely an option this week. Nico Hines, VC or captain.
Yeah.
And even Latrell, just the VC and Latrell, knowing that he could potentially go massive. Him and Teddy can kind of go there, but it's not as open as say last week was in terms of captains. You had a lot of good matchups, but this week, not so much.
Yep, 1,100 par this week, in my opinion, unless these players go big. Cheers for tuning in, guys. Short episode this week, but we've got to keep it down to this time, this point of the season, because we're just going to talk shit if we don't. So cheers for listening, and cheers, Jake, for coming on, and enjoy the week off.
I will enjoy the week off. Good luck this week, Savs. I'm glad to have you fighting my battles for me and maybe see you in the grand final.
I'll see you there. I'll see you later.
See you all.